How hard did you push it? Till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
What's happening, Municipals? This is your boy Big C, and Ashton is in the building as well. Well, in his building in San Francisco. But we are talking a fun topic. I kind of dreamed this up, and that kind of leads into the topic that we're going to be talking about, and that is dream golf course. I think it's kind of cool because the amount of different courses me and Ashton have experienced together and in our own separate golf lives, I think we've gotten a well-rounded feel of different types of topography and landscape and style of architecture, and I think it'd be a really cool discussion for us to kind of dive into what and how we would build a golf course that would be our all-time dream golf course if we had no budget and could pick any parcel of land to make it in. So, yeah, really excited for this topic. But let's first check in with the boy Ashton. How you doing, sir?
Hello, Big. I'm good. Big weekend over here. Well, I guess I can say this. This is kind of fun to say. Liz and I went ring shopping on Friday, so that was a big step for our relationship. It was a very kind of cool day, and then we kind of replicated our first date. So Friday was fun, but a lot of emotions. So like kind of like the heart rate was kind of high on Friday. Saturday went to Outside Lands. That was my gift for my birthday from Liz. That was a blast. Shout out to a fucking music festival that ends at 10 o'clock. Like, I'm only 31. It is incredible. Like, we went to a friend's house afterwards, had a couple White Claws and kind of mellowed down. Wait till the Ubers weren't like $300. Got home at midnight. Wonderful, great experience. And today played golf with producer Jack at Metro, which was delightful as always. Only tough scene was it was a 5 hour and 10 minute round, which was Metro has a sign that says "Be prepared to play in 4 hours and 20 minutes," and just to say, really wish courses would have a marshal. I just don't understand. Like, the two groups ahead of us was the problem. You could see it a mile away. They were on greens forever, and if someone was coming around just getting in their ass, it would have been much better. But before we kind of get into the pod, I would like to shout out our friends at Union Green. Don't want this hat on all the time because this hat makes my head look weird. Not a Union Green problem. That's a me problem.
Every
But
hat
obviously we're going
makes him look weird. That's why he wears visors.
Yes, that's why we're visors. But we're talking about our courses, and we're going to talk about style. Who knows? It might even be private. I'm just saying, like, if unlimited budget. But for the purpose of this discussion, we are at our core municipal golfers. Really want to shout out Union Green for all their support of us. If you want to use our promo code Municipals20, get yourself a hat that'll look better on you than it looks on me. T-Bird golf balls, just a bunch of stuff on there. So check it out, uniongreen.com. The other thing too is we kind of head into the fall. We're going to continue doing course write-ups, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 to 2 a month. So you're going to kind of continue to see that. Chris, anything to add? Because there's some stuff I want to talk about as well, but I do not want to talk for the next 10 minutes. So anything you'd like to add or kind of to thank Union Green as well?
Yeah, what I would do is check out the Pour Caddies as well. I think it's one of the cooler, unique
Pour Caddy
items.
2.
Pour Caddy 2, new updated and innovated item that was already really cool in the first generation, but it's a really cool, thing to keep on you for the birdie juice to be able to, take a shot with the boys on the course when the birds are tweeting. I don't know where
you
I was
almost said
going
the
with
bird.
that.
Said the
Woo.
birds are twerking.
Yeah, twerking. That's what's woof. I don't know where my mind was going, but Pour Caddy is dope. Has shot glasses in the bottom. You get any liquid or thing that you'd like to fill in the inside of it. Top pops up. Pour your drink out of choice. It's a really cool little system. And then they've got all your accessories. Golf balls are their main gig with the T-birds and pin drops. And to be honest, they're made by one of the best manufacturers out there. They're a fantastic ball. Definitely check them out.
Amen. And I'll flip this around a little bit because this might make I now look douchier, but maybe potentially a little bit better. Not so it's like a yarmulke. But yeah, no, a couple of quick things I wanted to shout out. So I've thought about this a little bit. Obviously, we had a wonderful discussion with Matt at Loop Golf. Go give that a listen. I think what they're doing at Loop is huge. The only thing that I've been thinking about, Chris, that I should have said earlier is I think overall we have a really supportive group of people who listen to our podcast, which we like. The only thing that seems to have pissed a lot of people off that I'm just going to keep leaning into is Sharp Park sucks. Until we fix it, Sharp Park sucks.
Sharp
I just
Park
want to say,
sucks.
Matt, I know, if we can fix it, save it, sure, but Sharp Park as it currently is sucks. And I just want to say that Matt on the podcast said that if we fix Sharp Park, it would be like Pasatiempo. And after I listened back to the podcast, I really wish that I had jumped in and we could have had a discussion about that. So I just want to say I want to apologize to our listeners because I am here to sometimes have hot takes. I am here to say things people don't want to say. But I don't think it's a controversial opinion to say that Sharp Park has never and will never beat Pasatiempo, which is my favorite golf course in the world, one of the best golf courses in the world. So I want to apologize. I should have called Matt out. Again, Matt, if you're listening, you're the man. We can talk about it over beers, but let's save Sharp Park. But also, it's not going to be the crown jewel or one of the crown jewels of Alistair McKenzie's thing. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. It's been bothering me, and I just had to say something about it.
You know what? So the one thing is Sharp Park's landscape. You're never going to replicate or be able to beat Pasatiempo. One, because you're not going to be able to get that landscape. You're just not going to get that land. One thing I would say is they could make it closer to Pacific Grove.
Yeah, that's true.
They could
Although
make
you can't replicate the sand dunes, though. It doesn't have the same sand dunes.
The only thing they would be able to do is they would literally have to raise the golf course.
Yeah.
Landfill it in and raise the course so that you actually had ocean views from the.
Which they're not going to, yeah.
They're not going to do it.
Don't forget about the frogs. There was all that shit.
Yeah, it's just there's too many hangups. It's been going on for close to 15 years at this point, and they've been battling. They've raised millions of dollars to make this happen. The funds are there.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But, I mean, it's been in writing. It's been on multiple pods. The guys that have raised the money have talked about it and said the money is there, and allegedly. I'm gonna take their word for it because, I mean, if you're going to vouch for it that many times, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
But it's it's still city-owned. And the city of San Francisco still has to let somebody be able to do anything to it.
Although the city of San Francisco is doing a great job on the par 3 course. Again, allegedly, that looks like it's going to be coming out. So, no, but to be clear, Chris, I love you chiming in. This wasn't actually meant to be, I don't want to relitigate Sharp Park. I am just apologizing to our fans. Oh, not fans. Our friends, our listeners. I should have said something, and again, Matt, you're the man. Let's hang out. Love Loop Golf. Sharp Park has never been, will never be, or hold candle to Pasatiempo. That's number one. Number two, one of the friends of our pod, Nick Williams, texted me. I was talking with Hussey about a hole at which you could not see on our podcast, and he correctly, I misspoke. I was talking about number 16 at Old Mac. I said Trails. My apologies, Nick. Thank you for catching that. And the third thing, and because he's probably already canceled, turned the pod off because Marcus is a big Sharp Park fan. Friend of the pod, he's come on before. Hopefully, Chris, you're going to get him on soon to talk about his Oregon trip. Marcus Chang, always appreciate, Marcus is one of our great friends and someone who gives kind of constructive feedback in a way that I really appreciate. He asked me to, or one thing he said he would have liked to hear more about on the Pebble pod is we got so focused on Pebble that I think we kind of didn't do the best job at talking a little bit about the women and kind of the game. So I think the two things I wanted to kind of quickly share is it was really amazing to watch women play Pebble Beach because what I didn't have an appreciation for, we talked about kind of the grandeur of the place, but it very much strikes me that Pebble is a place that definitely requires a lot of precision. I mean, I know that like with the men's game, you can kind of play the bomb and gouge game, but to watch the women do an amazing job at just continually over and over and over again hitting the shots that were required was unbelievable. Into areas where it's like there's no way they're going to be able to do that. And again, they meaning just like that's not a shot that can be hit, and it's unbelievable to watch how precise and talented the women are. And then as far as course fit, Marcus wanted me to talk a little about course fit as well. I mean, I think one of the hard parts is I think it would have been amazing. There were some things like Andy on the Fried Egg talked about, a little bit about mowing lines where um, essentially Andy's that we definitely saw, Hussey and I saw live, was the USGA chose to make holes artificially narrow by adding rough, which actually is the opposite of what they're trying to do. So I think the biggest thing was it was incredible to watch them play it, but you definitely would have preferred if the USGA would have actually gone for more width, because it would have allowed certain advantages. Like we talked about number seven, eight, nine, seven, eight, number nine. It was 445 yards. We're standing behind the tee. We had not yet seen the hole, and it looked like one of those, especially with where some of the women were five almost, right? But that hole was actually much wider than it looked, and Hussey talked about this. Yuka Sasso, basically hit the speed slot, and she had flip wedge in. I mean, from 440 yards, Yuka Sasso hits it a long way, but Yuka Sasso from a 440-yard par four, being able to have a flip wedge in because the hole gave her the necessary width to actually have an advantage by shipping it and having it go all the way down on the right side was a tremendous advantage. So again, this is not the kind of relitigate this, but I did just want to say, Marcus, thank you for kind of calling that out. And again, I think it was really kind of very much appreciated the women's game going into this. I've kind of said outside of men's majors, I think I like watching women's golf more because I find it much more relatable in the distance they're hitting it, not relatable in the sense of the dispersion and kind of how they can hit it. But it was pretty crazy, like watching it sitting at 17, like Hussey and I mentioned, and a couple people hit in the bunker, but in general, the women are hitting it into like very, very, very narrow windows. And it's a lot of they might have a preferred side of the green, which to us at 17 at Pebble, we're just like, I'm hoping to hit it on the green. And to watch how, for them hitting it on the wrong side of the green was a huge miss was pretty unbelievable. And sitting there for an hour getting that sample size. So those are the couple things that I wanted to talk about quickly. Again, shout out Matt. Shout out Nick, and then again appreciate Marcus kind of sharing some feedback. So those are a couple of things I wanted to kind of empty the notebook before we talked, Chris. But I guess one thing we can quickly talk about before we kind of get into the draft, or whatever you want to call it. I saw you and you fit me into a new driver. That was exciting. You've done a lot. I mean, my whole bag is you at this point, but we actually kind of put two and two together that you haven't kind of done a full driver fitting for me for like a shaft and everything. And I'm really excited. I mean, it's kind of what I thought going in, but it was really cool to kind of see the numbers validated by, kind of what we assumed going into that conversation. It was really fun.
Yeah, I mean, we tried all the combos. I mean, we tried pretty much every head setup that was available to us, and came away with TaylorMade Stealth 2 for you, Stealth 2 Plus, and the trusty old Ventus shaft. It's just been it's. I mean, the shaft alone has probably been the best fitting shaft since I've been in the industry. I mean, it fits so many people, and that's why you see it in so many people's bags, and especially on tour. But for what you were looking for and the shot shape you were looking for, Stealth just worked for us. The adjustabilities that you were looking for to keep that face more open without having to actually hold the face open and keep it off it's just how TaylorMade makes their drivers. And we found good numbers with multiple drivers. Titleist was also a very good contender, but you have to go with what the numbers say. And so when I could tell anybody to get a fit, it's like just go with what works best. And if the numbers are showing and it's your shot shape and what you're looking for, pull the trigger on it, because brand loyalty, these guys don't fucking pay you. None of these manufacturers are paying you to sell their product or to buy their product or to use their product. So just go with what best works for you, because there's no reason that you need to have an all bag. Just because Colin or Call was your favorite player, you don't need to have tailor-made everything.
Yeah. No, I loved it. I mean, I think to your point, like you fit me in that stealth 3 wood that's such a weapon, and that thing for me just wants to go to the right in a way that I like. Because again, I've never had a 3 wood. Before you and my lessons with Kevin Polly have not been able to hit a draw, and that thing just it's a tight draw, and the face on that thing is white hot like most 3 woods are. But really getting a driver, some of y'all have probably seen the content that we posted about my driver and how it can go to the right and can go right pretty fast. So to build kind of an anti-right driver for me that just it's going to cut, I think we've done is we've taken a 10.5 degree head. We're going to open it 4 degrees, have it at 8.5. So the face is just going to sit wide open and have it where that thing can only go to the left, because if I need it to go to the right, I'm going to hit a different club. Like, it's just that it's also just like good fitting, right? It's like this club does this, that club does that. I wish I was good enough for practice enough that I could do everything with every club. I'm not. I don't. I play golf hopefully once a week, and that's what I got. So just wanted to shout out you, Chris, because I know you're good at what you do. I mean, the lessons have helped a bunch, but my bag is 100% you, and you, Jack. Shout out to you for helping me with my hybrid fit as well. But you know, just a lot better when you get fit. So it's a free ad for Club Champion, but I cannot wait to see that thing. But Chris, take us to the dream golf course, man. I appreciate you letting me empty out the clip. Notebook, not clip. This is make love, play golf, not war. But yeah, I've got a few ideas of things that I want to share. About I think we had a little different interpretation of kind of dream golf course, but I like your structure. So kick us off. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I just think our insight would be kind of cool on how or what we want to do. If we had the chance to be able to design our golf course. So like I broke it down into categories. So these are important things I think that would make kind of our style of golf course very unique. And so the first thing I would ask you, Ashton, is what is the parcel of land or style of landscape that you would choose for your actual golf course? And so this is kind of like Sim City when you're trying to pick your landscape to build your city in.
I mean, I'll go into all of this to say that it's really hard to not, I feel like, go with like golf is having a very specific moment right now, it feels, and it's a movement that I'm very supportive of. And so as I've thought through this, I'm not bashful about it, but I think that like a lot of my answers are going to be very much kind of with the consensus, we'll say, because as you've heard over the last pod and a pod we'll have in the future, I'm not going to tell you Robert Trent Jones, target golf, you know, hit it here, hit it here. That's not what I'm about. So I would definitely say links golf or link style golf. The humps and bumps. From a drainage perspective, think a little bit. I'm no agronomist, but I know enough to know that sandy soil drains really well. So I think to me, um, that would certainly be what I would choose.
So would you go the route of where Tom Doak and stuff are building them inland in places like open prairie areas like Nebraska? Or would you go more towards a site like Bandon or most of the courses that you're going to find in Scotland, Ireland, more coastal?
I think my ideal would be somewhere in between. I mean, I think that again, the idea, since this is dream, you're thinking this would actually be done well. I think that I would have a course that would have about half the holes on water. I think that's awesome. But I think holes that go specifically like away from the water, like into the like I mean, I don't like a golf course with a lot of trees. I mean, we had that discussion with Garrett Morrison. But I do think like in the vibe of, I mean, abandoned trails, like that sort of trees, like I enjoy. But like for abandoned trails, I mean, obviously it's one of my favorite, probably top five courses I've ever played. Like, could abandoned trails be better if it had a few holes on the water? Like 100%, right? But I think sometimes, like, I don't think you're gonna like necessarily like overdose on the coast, but like at Pack Dunes, most of the time you're just like, holy shit, like it's just the ocean, right? It's kind of hard sometimes to, or I know I've heard this, like Tron talk about this at Whistling Straits or some of these, or like the Ocean Course, where like you almost like lose depth perception. Like you're like, you have nothing to point at, right? You're like kind of out on the water to the point where like you have no, like, you can't exactly like almost pinpoint where you are. So I think to me, it would be like definitely some holes on the water, but I think like making it where we could like really, really nail the inland holes, right? Because that's always the thing, right? Oh, the inland holes kind of stink. It's like if we could build a course where there's like those dramatic reveals, like one at Sheep Ranch, right? It was like, holy cow, like from the forest down to the water. But then when you go inland, you're not like super bummed. They're great golf holes. Like the volcano hole at Sheep, right? That has nothing to do, like that hole has nothing to do with the water. It's just a great golf hole. That's what I would want to do, where there's both.
All right, I like that answer. I like that answer. I mean, I wouldn't say similar to kind of the route I would go. So, I mean, mine's kind of, very idealistic. This would be almost an
Hell
impossible
yeah.
site to be able
Terra
to
Hata.
actually like create. So, it would be like a meadow that runs along the ocean, you know. But
Ooh.
my thing would be I would like it to be more towards the beach, not on cliffs like a lot of the Bandon Dunes courses are, but I would actually like the meadow to kind of like flow down into a beach. But my first thing is I want it to be butted up against kind of like a forest of trees. Because my first tee shot and where my clubhouse is, I want my clubhouse to be up on top of a hill, kind of perched over and looking into the meadow, into the ocean. And my first tee would be just a opening out into out of the trees, straight into the meadow. And I want no trees anywhere in this meadow. I want it to be, other than the trees that you're hitting through off of the first tee shot, I legitimately want zero trees on my golf course. So I want it open landscape, right at sea level, just wide open, sandy dunescape. That would be my ideal landscape.
Okay, I have a question. And this is not meant to like I'm not trying to be like Dr. Semantics. Like, what is a meadow? Like when I picture a meadow, I think of like I picture like I know they've talked about a meadow at like the middle part of like Bandon Trails, right? It's like the forest, the meadow, the
The
dunes
meadow
on like
is
1 and 18. But what is the meadow?
like an opening of just like natural fescue outside of a large grouping of trees. So like
Okay.
if you're
So I was
you're
thinking flowers. It
coming
doesn't have to be
out of a
flowers.
forest with wildflowers and natural fescue, that's what a
Okay.
meadow is.
Yeah. No, we
So
got to
it's
get you.
just
I mean,
tall grass.
there's been a bunch of houses now, but we got to get you to Tuscaloosa. It's private now, I know, but there's a lot of there's a lot of trees and meadows, and like it's a lake, but that's kind of what Tuscaloosa was or is.
Yeah.
But you
So I just want a wide open meadow coming out of this forest. Like I just think,
okay,
I mean, elevated 60 to 70 feet above the fairway, par five, straight out of the trees, downhill into a fairway, and then just wide open for all the other holes.
okay, love it. What's the next pillar?
So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but it would be the course style. So like we've played a bunch of different styles. You know, you've got Carica, which is an Australian Sound Belt course. You've got a lot of the Bandon Dunes courses that give you multiple varieties of what link style golf can be.
Yeah.
You know, all these different styles of courses. Like, what would be your ideal style or a hybrid of styles?
Um, hmm. I still think the answer is like I still think it's like links or like link style. Yeah, I mean like width options. Again, I know that's what's in vogue, but I mean, at least I've played a lot of golf courses, and I just think that's the most fun. Again, like that's where I'm on record as saying like it's not the best, I know, but the course I'm honestly like, if you were to ask me right now, what is the course I'm most excited to play? Mammoth Dunes. I just like I love the idea of they've kind of overcooked the dunes, but to the point where it's supposed to be fun, right? It's like balls are funneling to the hole, right? Like you can take it super deep, right? The idea of like us having a match at Mammoth Dunes and it's like we're probably both gonna play like really well and it's like, yo, let's go fuck and make some birdies. Like, hell yeah. Like I don't want that for this course because, call me Captain Douchebag. Like, I don't need it to be Pine Valley, but like I definitely want this to be like a proper test of golf. And like I'm not again, I don't know this. It doesn't sound like Mammoth Dunes is maybe necessarily a prop like it's not like it's a bit of goofy golf by design. But I think just like all the tropes, ball on the ground, like I think that's really fun. So that.
I love that. You know, in mine kind of would be so kind of the style I would kind of go about it. It would be kind of I would have link style open Australian sandbelt style golf course. So again, really, natural fescue patches all over the place, but fairly just wide open fairways. There's not a lot of rough all over the place. You might have some fescue to catch balls as kind of a natural hazard, but just completely wide open, almost like you can't distinctively tell where a hole starts and stops. Just a wide open space with tee boxes and greens, with a lot of undulation throughout it. But the way I would want my greens to be styled, and this is where it would kind of be a weird twist I don't think anybody's ever done. You know, I would have a certain, more modern architect design my fairways and my tee boxes and where it goes. But the greens I would like to be styled like golden age architecture. So if like I could take three architects like, Alistair McKenzie, Donald Ross in Tillinghast and just like wrap them up and have a mixture of square greens, a mixture of oblong shaped with severe undulation, like some Alistair McKenzie style greens, and then mix in some of those Donald Ross style burets and volcanoes and things like that. And all of those mixed in as my greens with an open Australian belts, style, link style, I think would be the way I would go.
Well, I think that'd be super cool, especially because if you think about it, the link style from tee to green like is meant to be like forgiving, right? Like the idea is like you can kind of hit it. There's better options, but you're not going to be like super penalized off the tee. But if you have some of these like greens, like there's like holes like I love it, but like a 16 at like Pasatiempo, like is that really like a fair green? Like probably not, right? But like that hole is actually hard, right? Because in my mind, like that, even though it works with my shot shape, it's like if I hit a hybrid but pull it, it's going to go OB into the house, right? If you go left, like that's where it's hard. But like if it's just like open, then it's like, yo, man, like you need to fucking hit this second shot. But like you've had like that first shot is much more forgiving. That's cool. That's better than the hole is designed now.
But could you also imagine if you brought that green and brought it to level with the fairway and it wasn't elevated, didn't have these
Yeah.
giant
Well, because then you
roll
could even
offs.
putt it, right? You could like, if it came down, you could putt it, which you can't really do now.
Yeah, and where you wouldn't have that false front, you wouldn't have those things where it would be more. You'd have a little hump to kind of come up into it, but like it would be just a run up. There wouldn't be any rough in front, and there wouldn't be, bunkers, and it wouldn't be elevated. It would just be a multi-tier green level to the fairway. I think that would just
Yeah,
be super intriguing that I don't think I've really seen yet, where it's,
yeah,
really taking like I seriously want to pluck, you know, template greens from all of these golden age architects and then like plop it down in a wide
yeah,
open kind of space. I think it would be
yeah,
really interesting to kind of play.
yeah. I mean, I think the hard part for me is like, I know one of your questions is going to be architects. I mean, the more golf that I play, the more I realize that like I'm about as close to a core Crenshaw devotee as it gets. Like I mean, it's like the core. It's like looking back. Again, I'm not going to relitigate this, but like growing up on Cuscahuilla, what I felt at Man and Trails. It's actually a shame we just canceled in a couple weeks. We were supposed to go to Maui. We canceled it because of the fires. And we just felt it was irresponsible to take resources right now. And again, hopefully people have seen this. Like Maui currently, 89 people dead and counting, and the largest wildfire in the history of the highest death toll of any wildfire in American history. Insane. Like, please make sure to donate
Super
and
sad.
help. And if you're going, don't go because they need the resources, not for your vacation. But I had decided I was going to play Kapalua by myself. It was sick. I had a 7 o'clock tea time by myself. First off, gonna go play the plantation course. Um, because like Hawaii is my favorite place in the world, and like Core Crenshaw is my favorite, and I was like, fuck it, let's just do it. I'm on vacation. So the hard part for me is it's like I'm totally with you. Like I love. I mean, I literally right here have all 18 greens at Pasa Tiempo that the fried egg did. But I've played a lot of Core Crenshaw greens like that are very like very very hard. I mean, as a kid, there's some like number 5 at Cuscahuilla, this gigantic waste bunker in the middle, little fairway right, fairway left, fescue all around for you, Chris. This like asshole, brutal, like teeny tiny little green. But the hole is drivable. So the idea is like we're gonna let you drive it. Like you only need a good drive, right? You can. I think now I could probably get 3-wood onto that green. But like, dude, if the pin is on like on the back right corner, you have like this much room to hit it, And so I just like I've seen Core Crenshaw do greens that are like very subtle, but then ones that are like you can hit it up there and make a 10. Like seriously, like, you can drive it up by the green and make a 10. So the
See,
hard
with
thing for
that,
me is like my whole mind is gonna like I feel like I'm gonna keep funneling back to like kind of Core Crenshaw principles because that's kind
no,
of
but
what the
that's what the kind of question for what architect you would want to build
yeah.
your
Mm-hmm.
course, because that would mean that they would be the ones that would probably listen to your ideals and take
Yeah.
them probably to the place that you'd want to go. And to be honest, they would be my go to if I was going to build the course as well. Like,
Yeah.
I would go, it's because they've built all of the styles. They
Totally. They're
haven't
so
just built,
versatile.
they're very versatile. Where like Tom Doak, you play a Tom Doak, it's very Tom Doak. Like you play a David
Yeah.
McClay kid, it's a David McClay kid. It's
Yeah.
same with Gil Hance. Like you play Gil, it's very distinctively his. And so where I have played, I haven't gotten a chance to play as many Core Crenshaw courses as I would like in my time, but like the couple that I have been able to experience, it's like I can
Yeah. It's
see if
incredible.
I went to them and said, okay, I want, you know, just like you
Yeah.
guys did out when you were talking about Tasmania, like that Australian
Mm-hmm.
sandbelt style course that you guys are known for in Australia and Tasmania and that style of area. I want to
Yeah.
take that, and then here's the 6 courses of Golden Age architecture. These are the style of greens I want, and if I gave them those 2 things,
Yeah.
I know they would accomplish what I was looking for.
Yeah. I mean, the only challenge I'd give you there, and this is really just meant to, to just so we're not agreeing on everything. I mean, the reason I love Core Crenshaw so much is like, their whole thing is like finding golf holes, right? So the only thing that I'd be curious about as you had your course built is if you want 16, I mean, your version of 16 at Pasa, and you're building it on a like, gentle like meadow that's flowing into the beach, they may come to you and say, "Hey, Chris, it's not out there, man." Like, I just be curious because that would actually require them to like move dirt and like. I'm more just saying I think an interesting concept of like some of the stuff you might want on the crazier end is actually pretty fundamentally against their architecture principles. So like, I'm not saying they wouldn't do it. I'm just saying like I'd love to read the book, right? About if they wrote a book about building big C's, Hot Dog National, which is something you should definitely like patent. That'd be sick. Um, Relish Country Club. Um, I'd be curious to hear their take on like, they might not be able to find the severity of what you're looking for, but just be curious what they think.
But I think it would be cool because I would want the undulations of what we get when we play those golden age architecture courses, but I don't want what they had to design to be able to have water drainage in certain things, and that's why a lot of those greens were elevated because they had to have that because the water needed to go somewhere because they didn't have the proper irrigation like we do modern. So what I would actually have to do is like, yes, if we could take the topography of it, what it is, if you look at it before it hits the actual, rough in skirt before it goes off, take that and find greens like that at a level landscape with the fairways. I think that would kind of be cool. And a lot of it is too. It's like you're cutting the greens to a certain shape as well, like square greens and things with sharp edges and a little bit more oblong shape. I think it would be interesting because a meadow or sandy site is gonna once you mow it down, it's gonna have those dips and undulations and things that have been created by wind and sand over the years because it is an oceanfront course, so it's going to have that. And that's why link style courses work so well because it's easy to find those little nuances, and then it's their job to kind of smooth it out to make it to what it would need to be. But I
Yeah.
think you're right. I think it'd be really
Well, the other
interesting
thing too,
how they
though,
would find them.
yeah, I mean, well, the other thing too is like this exercise becomes a lot less interesting if it's because there's no point in having this discussion if it's I would find a cool site and tell Core Crenshaw to do whatever they want. Like that's probably what I would do, honestly. But like that makes this discussion boring, right? Like I'm actually saying it would be cool to say, hey, look, big fan, know what you guys do. Um, also too, like not to be morbid, but like they're old. They're old. Like they don't have a lot of courses left. They're taking less and less work. I mean, they're passing it along to kind of their proteges. It could be cool where it's like, hey, y'all have zigged your whole life and it's been amazing. Like everybody loves your zig. Before you go, why don't we zag together? Be super cool, right? Like have Core Crenshaw build like to see like what Core Crenshaw's again, you wouldn't do it everywhere, but to see like Core Crenshaw's interpretation sometimes of like maximalist architecture, fuck, that'd be sick. Right? They don't do that, so that I would actually think that'd be really cool. You might get more like what 14 abandoned trails, right? Holes that are just divisive as fuck, and like again, I've said I don't have an opinion on 14 at trails. Like they built it, I got to play it. It's an amazing match play hole. Can see why it might be tough from stroke play, but like I'd love to see a few more of those from them. Like maybe not ones that are a little bit more fair, but it'd be cool to see what they can come up with. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think it would just be I would just be very stringent on making sure that the greens resembled golden age architecture, and that might be a challenge for them in the landscape that I dream
Yeah,
this up to be. And again, this is my dream. I
yeah,
could do whatever the fuck I
yeah,
want, and they're gonna hunt them down until we find them. So
yeah.
I'm sending them on a mission out there. But one thing that we always preach in things that we've talked in course reviews, things that are very important to us, is practice facility. So, for me, I think a practice facility is a very important thing for a golf course because, not only is it a place for people coming out to warm up and things like that, but I feel like the practice facility is probably the most community based thing that you can offer as a golf course to the locals and people that would be coming from far and wide to be able to experience your course. I think having a little added stuff that makes it really fun, not only just having your basics, is always important as well. Um, so for practice facility, where would you go to make your ultimate practice facility?
Um, I think I'll focus on just one thing because I think that like some of this stuff is implied, right? You want a range that's long enough to hit driver, you want enough stalls, like some of that stuff. And it's sort of inspired by Atlanta Athletic Club's practice that I've talked about that you're going to lose your mind when you see it one day, Chris. But I think what they have that's so cool is I think they have two greens there where they actually have areas. I forget where it starts, but I think it's maybe like 20 to 80 yards. Like every 5 yards, there's like a pyramid of balls. It's like 20, and then over here is 25, and it's like 30. And so the idea is just that you can, like, if you are playing great and you kind of actually, not to out you, but you were talking before we press record about how you're really struggling from like 40 to 80 yards, right? And like, if you want to go like before you play, you're like, cool, I'm just going to go hit like, this is tapped out. I'm going to pick the back left flag, 55 yards, and go hit like four of these before I play. That'd be amazing, right? Or it's like, that would be so relaxing to me of like, I think what I'm so bummed as like I've been playing really good golf despite the fact that I'm not practicing. And shout out to Kevin for like helping me like have drills and stuff that I can do in my house. And again, I live in San Francisco. The nearest practice facility is like Mariners Point, and that's just not that. Me going to Mariners Point and having a full practice session is like 3.5 hours. It's just not very feasible for me. Um, but I think that like practicing short game is like one of the most relaxing things a golfer can do. Like you throw in music, you throw in a podcast, totally zone out. But I think the ability to like, I'm going to go hit like 30, 55 yard shots today. Into like a green that's not just like mush, right? Like that actually has different areas. Like, okay, that's a tucked right flag. Let me hit 55, cutting across it with spin. Let me try to bang into the hill, right? Because probably the issue you're having, how you say, Chris, is like you don't have those reps because if you have the ball, if you have 45 yards in the ball of your feet, you live in a simulator. You don't know what that feels like. And so I think what AAC has done a good job is trying to replicate that for people. Both, I think, is good for practicing, but I think that also just be great to. I would love to be able to hit a few of those shots before I play. Hit a couple drivers to kind of warm the back up, hit a few putts, but I think the ability to hit those shots before you play a little bit to get a feel before you have one on number three, and then also to do that for relaxation. Again, there's other things, but that's to me what I think would be really delightful. And just range balls that get cycled out a lot. There's a whole discussion in my local no laying up chapter about what a racket, and especially the Bay Area balls are. Like large bucket of balls going for like $25 that are just no dimples, haven't been changed out in years. Like it honestly just means you shouldn't even, like there's no point. That's kind of why I don't go practice. It's like I'm not going to spend $20 to go hit a bunch of dimpleless balls. Like you give me their Apsodo, it's like the driver numbers aren't right. Like you're a brand new Pro V1X versus that. So range balls that get cycled out a lot. A driving range is long enough to hit driver, and a lot of places, 45, 50, 65 yard shots. So I think that would be really delightful.
For me, of course, it would be grass range, no mats, blah blah blah. The normal check the boxes of what every golfer wants. But for me, big thing I would want would be, I want one massive size putting green that would allow enough space and enough holes for 15, 20 golfers to be able to practice putting at the same time and not have to watch each other to make sure you're not hitting at the same hole and all that stuff. Because that's one thing that drives me crazy. whenever I go to public courses, they've got these tiny circle greens that have 4 holes on it, and there's like 4 groups that are getting ready to tee off, and they're all trying to get a couple putts in, and you're just like, your group is all trying to share a hole of 10 to 15 feet, and it's just pain in the ass. And so something's massive enough to where, I could have 20 holes, and it be at least, 40, 45 yards long by about 30 yards, wide. Like just a massive, massive green. Putting only, just for putting. Then in the chipping area, very much kind of, so the one that I'm going to use, and I know, guys, we're using 2 private course examples, but they unfortunately are the ones that invest in good practice facilities, because public courses don't make money on them, so they're not going to invest in good practice facilities. So, unless you're Mariners Point, where you actually do have a pretty good chipping practice facility, but you also have to rent time to be able to go in the gated practice facility. So my thing would be, Columbia Edgewater out here in Portland has a really, really incredible practice facility. So it's one really long green with 3 flags, 2 bunkers on each side with large lips, and then a third auxiliary green kind of off to the left with another bunker. And then what they have, same thing, they have balls set up in different areas. But what they have is it goes back to about 80, 90 yards, but they have multiple like leveled tiers that you can try to play off of different undulations, different heights, and where it would actually play off of. Then they've got a really cool different flat area and different undulations below that to kind of practice on different lies from within 30 to 40 yards, which is just, it really helps you dial stuff in and gives you a great look at it. And then I think it would just be fun to be able to put 2 or 3 tee boxes from 110 to 140 yards out, where you could just have fun, fun little matches or games, or you could utilize it for time for match plays coming in off the course that are tied. You could have little tee boxes set up out there for 160-yard par 3 to break the tiebreaker onto the practice greens. So I think that would be kind of cool. So that would be kind of my ideal practice facility. It would also be 24 hours. Light it up, 24 hours. Anybody can come out whenever they want. If you're local, you can come out at 3 in the morning and hit chips if you want. You could, doesn't matter. 24 hours, lit area. This is out in the middle of nowhere. This is my imaginary place, so I could do whatever I want. So that's my practice facility. So next thing I thought would be really cool would be your perfect hole. So we've played a lot of different golf holes. If you were going to design, if you were going to say, hey, architect, whoever's going to design my course, Core Crenshaw, fuck you. This is the hole you're going to design. I don't care. You're designing it exactly how I want it. What would be your hole? Ideal hole. And you could use a hole that you've played as a template.
I think, do I give the easy answer to me? The more obvious? Yeah, I'm just like, I think it's a true risk reward par 4, like short par 4. The one that stands out to me the most is 5, probably at Sweetens Cove. Because what I like about that hole is
You son of a bitch. You literally took my exact same hole that I was going to use as a template.
And the sick thing is you haven't played Sweetens Cove except
I've played it on TrackMan about 500 times. Yeah. And that's the reason I know what it looks like and kind of how it plays. But it's not the real thing.
Shout out to all the TrackMan golfers out there.
But you go explain
no, this is easy. Yeah. So number 5, basically, it's a hole where you can hit 6-iron wedge, you can do that, 7-iron wedge. But the reason I actually like it is that like driver's too much club. So it's actually one of these things where like I've played there with Nick in the summertime where like I've hit like my like 230-yard hybrid, but the thing is it's got the replica of like the devil's asshole bunker. So it's like if you're gonna club down and try to be a little more aggressive, if you don't catch that thing on the screws, you are absolutely boned in that bunker. And like the thing I actually like is like long is like it's forgiving in the sense that there's no penalty, but over the back there's this like there's like a shaved area that leads down to like a chipping area, which like makes the next shot almost impossible. Like if you hit it long right there, a par becomes an amazing score on a hole that like you're even past hole high. So, but the reason I think I like that in particular is like I love a drivable par four where you have to hit driver, but I think it's actually kind of sick. Like I guess the way to make it better is like if you could have one more tee box and you could move tee boxes. Like one day you have to just commit to hitting driver, but then one day it's more of like 242 yards, right? Where you're like, is it a 5 wood? Is it a 3 wood? Do I get chippy? Do I just hit 6 iron? Because again, to me, it's all about options. And I think that that hole is like one of my favorite holes I've ever played. And again, apparently you too. So like, chime in, but like, I imagine you feel the same way. Obviously,
Well, my thing is just gettable par fours are probably one of the funnest holes you can
fun. They're
play.
just fun.
Like I think 290 to 300 is like the wheelhouse for one of the best par fours that you can kind of make. It's just, and I think it's just like you said. I think you just
Actually,
have
if you love that, Chris, you number seven at Sweetens is maybe a better example because seven is like Nick, like listen
seventh
to this.
with got the little bit
Seven
of
green,
trees on the right, a little bit of
bunker
undulation.
short left.
Yep.
Yeah. And like that green, like Nick stands by that that's like the most like ridiculous because it's like it takes your north like Pacific Northwest turtleback and just goes like this to it because it's like truly, I mean, there's like not a lot of pinnable spots. And again, because it sweetens there's two pens, when you play the black pin, which is the harder one, it's always going to be in a spot where like you are like inches from just absolutely getting completely exposed. So, but that one, Chris, you like have like if you're going to go for the green, it's a driver. So like, but again, that's why again we've like I don't think we actually have done. Eventually, we'll do probably when you play there, we'll do like the mega sweetens episode. But the fact that you have five, that's like you're going for the green with a hybrid or 3 wood par four, and then the fact that like number seven is the same thing, and then again six in between is like a very long, challenging par four. It's just like that's why Sweetens is the best because it's like you get to taste all of the flavors of ice cream.
Yeah, I think for me, the one thing I would want on kind of a gettable par four would be I would want I would want two different sides of the green. So I would want a punch bowl on one side of the green, and I would want a turtleback on one side of the green.
Oh, you're an
Because
asshole. That would be brutal.
yeah, I just think it would be fun to where one day you could play it smack dab in the middle of the bowl, and it would just
Hole in one
everything
city.
would funnel down. You could play really fun shots where you hit it into the turtleback, let it just roll up and down to the left into the bowl. Maybe give you some really crazy, albatross situations. And then also the days where it's just like we're just gonna fuck every single person that comes out here. You plop the pin dead ass in the middle of the turtleback and say, good luck.
Yeah,
So one day
love
you'll
it.
go out there and you'll probably get a very easy eagle birdie look, and then the next day, good luck getting a double.
Yeah, I love it.
I just think it would just and it completely changes the whole
Fun,
each day on how you play it, and I think
fun.
it's just a fun way to go about it. So huge thing
How
for
how
us.
many more pillars do you have here? We're
I
almost
only
at an
got
hour.
two. We're almost
Okay.
we're
Because
running out.
I got to get through my like random grab bag of stuff.
Yes. So next one would be practice facility, or I'm sorry, we already went through that. Style of club. So big thing, I think this is really important because for us,
Are we a bunch of
there are
frauds? That's the
particular things
question.
we love and absolutely fucking hate about certain courses that we have played when it comes to like how they run their facilities and things like that. So, what would be, are you going to go Dunes Club where it's private but you can write in and the public can play? Would you go, the reserve style where you just fuck it? We got two courses. We'll swap them back and forth and it's private, semi-private kind of situation, or Sweetens Cove kind of open, or just your standard clubhouse?
I think Sweetens feels like the right model because I think that Sweetens is the right model with the assumption that you build the golf course the right way. Because I hate to be this way. This is going to be definitely more of an elitist. Hey, I didn't say private, so it's not as elitist as I could say. But like, I guess it's also just I just played a 5 hour and 10 minute round at Metro, and like, what the guy in front of us came up to like had to come back because he left his roach on the tee box, and was like, "Yo, bro, what's up?" Like I don't want to be that guy, but also it's like I like that guy got to relax on a Sunday, but like that guy's interpretation of golf compared to mine is very different. Like he doesn't care if it's Metro or Meadow Club, right? He doesn't. And I think I would want people who were more serious golfers, like people who again have fun, right? I mean, like the example I talk to Liz about all the time is like me and Hussey, right? Me and Hussey have like we're point one, like he's a 3.2, I'm a 3.3. When we go play, one of us might give each other one, and we wait to drink beers until after, and we like it's fun, but like we have a fucking match, right? Like, we're out there grinding against each other, trying to win our dumb 5-5-10, right? That's who I want to come to this thing. Like, no, we're not gonna like fucking like win the USAM, but we play golf because we're trying to compete, and we take it a little more seriously than so. But I think the Sweetens model, if you build the golf course the right way, that's open to the public, but like the people you meet there, it's like it's hard to describe, but like you just look at like people's bags and you just look like you just watch the way people carrying themselves, and like there are people who like golf is a big part of their identity. They're having fun, but they take it seriously. That's what I would want to do, and also too like I feel like I'd be a fraud to say anything different being the municipals. But I do think it'd be pretty sick to be like, this is my course. It's kind of like the Ohoopie style, right? Where it's like, yeah, I mean, like if you know the right person, you can come, and it's going to cost you $1,000 a day. Like it's going to be amazing. I do sort of think that like one thing I should add is like, I think the style I'd probably go for is the Ohoopie style, of course. Like I love the idea of there is no like par. It's very much like this is a match play golf course. So I think that I would go for that. But I think the Sweetens model, because that'd be sick, right? The idea of a public track, anybody can come, but it's like, oh, you can come, but you can't play stroke play. Like, do not fucking. If you play stroke play, we're gonna have a list of people who have catch playing stroke play, and you can't come back. Like that's probably what I would do. Like open to the public, anybody's welcome. Play fucking match play. Actually, you have to have a handicap too. Like you have to have a valid gin. You have to have a valid gin. Now we're cooking. A valid gin to book the tee time, and you have to play match play. That's what I would do. And if you don't like it, go play somewhere else. There's a lot. Every other golf course in the world, except for I guess a hoopie, you can fucking. Did I make a 7 or an 8? Here, we don't fucking care. Did you win the hole, right? So that's my answer. I'm into that. Let's do that.
That's unique. It's different. It's all on its own, and I like that. I think for me, it would be kind of a combination of Gerhardt and Sweetens. So like I love the all day pass situation. In no tee times. I really think that's one of the coolest things you could absolutely do. But my big thing would be I also want it to be a more relaxing and fun environment. So for me, I would on the turn I would have kind of like a bar that's just a hangout with the green for people that just want to like come out there, hang out. if you just wanted to play 9, then hop back out there and play 9. I would keep a marshal kind of, right there, or somebody working right there where it'd be like, all right, they're on the green. You guys can now sneak out and kind of keep the flow so they can jump people back in there. I think that'd be kind of cool where you could it's just a little hut on the ocean that just has a green over there, so you could just hang out, play some putting games, do whatever you want out there, but it's just kind of a added bonus. I also think that I would have it walking only plus the surfboard style golf carts and the motorcycle golf carts, but no full size golf carts.
Except for you. You're the golf course owner. I can see the big C mobile in a car, but everyone else has to
No,
walk. That's what you should
I
do.
would be
It's
down.
the Oscar Mayer Wiener. You're driving the Oscar Mayer Wiener. It's like an Oscar Mayer Wiener golf cart around. You blow a little whistle, like Scott from Santa Claus.
Yeah,
Here comes Big Chris, just blowing the weenie whistle as we're all walking along, and you're blowing the weenie whistle. Hell yeah!
I think I would just be able. I would love to have like a dope ass, like the little electric motorbike with your bag in the middle of it.
Yeah,
But I would have like a mini
Hussey's done that. He
sidecar.
said it was great.
I would have just like a little mini sidecar with like a little bar in it and like all my stuff that I normally bring with me when
You're
I
Hagrid,
ride.
man. I should have seen this sooner. If you grow the beard, you're Hagrid.
Yeah,
Blimey,
and
Harry! I built myself a golf course, Harry.
just have this little yeah, it's coming out of the forest and everything. Like
Oh yeah, Hagrid's
I,
hut out there. Harry
what I'm
Potter.
saying.
If we just build it on like Hogwarts Castle, knock out some trees of Forbidden Forest, be sick.
That's
Some near the lake,
where
some
he
near like
lives
going.
is a meadow. He lives in a meadow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Harry Potter. That's the answer.
Yep. Harry Potter golf course. But that would be kind of my style. I think that would be kind of, just more inviting. There's not a lot of issues with a bunch of idiot. What I think with those boards and with the motorcycles, it kind of limits people getting too shitty wasted. You don't have a bunch of storage to keep like an 18 pack or little ice chests or anything. You got one cup holder. You can put one drink in at a time. If you want to keep a couple spares in your bag, that's on you. But like it limits the idiots coming out there and getting just shit faced. So, I like that. Last thing, diamond architectural feature of your course. So the one thing that people, how there's always that one hole or that one feature that like stands out to us. Like when we always talk about Sheep Ranch, we talk about the volcano hole. Like that's the iconic hole in my opinion to Sheep Ranch. Like the lone tree, at is it Dunes? Am I tripping on this?
It's the ghost tree at Old Mac, Chris.
Ghost Tree at Old Mac. Jesus Christ. Well, of course
The
I
lone
have.
tree at the dunes?
It's the one course I haven't.
No, you haven't played Banded Trails yet. That's not even true.
What's that?
You haven't played Banded Trails. That's not even true.
Yeah, no, that's true. Anyways,
The lone
there's those.
tree at the dunes. That's the name of your course. The lone
Yeah.
tree at the dunes.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, Chris. As y'all can
Anyways,
tell, Chris played golf, and his chest is very sunburned, and he's a tired boy. Jesus. Put on some sunscreen, because you're turning into a hot dog.
right there.
Oh God. No,
Anyways,
you go first. I don't really have an answer because I think it goes to the signature hole. Like for me, I think it would be like the short par four, right? But if you have a different answer, I'd be curious to know what it is.
mine would be a square green with basically like two square 30-foot by 30-foot greens on each side of a burette. So basically, it's like the whole green is
You're
like
really going Sims on this.
90
That's
feet.
insane.
Yeah, it's like
I think Court
90.
Crenshaw might tell you to fuck off. Like
Yeah,
this is a
90
lot.
feet long rectangle with the burettes in the middle. about 30 feet on each side. The uret is about 30 feet long. That would be my signature feature.
Okay, well, I'll let you go out on that. I have a couple things I mentioned because when you told me like dream golf course, I'm an idiot, and I wasn't thinking about like things that are like these specific about the actual golf course. I just have some things that I were running down that I think I would love to do. This is more kind of in the private course model, but I mean, like whatever. Um, I would love a proper coffee bar that was just like free. So it's like when you arrive, you want an espresso, you want a cortado, you want an Americano, you want a latte. Like you walk in the door and there's like a good espresso machine and like a espresso bar. Because we never have had that, but I do say like I think it was the reserve we played when they were like, oh, like they were like, here you go, we have a credit card, and they're like, oh, there's a hot coffee over there. I was like, oh, cool, thank you, because we're always like trying to run to Starbucks, like to know that you have like a good cup of coffee there is wonderful. Natural segue. On the way to Sweetens, I'm sure y'all have heard probably Tron talk about Buc-ee's, the crazy ass like Walmart gas station kind of thing. One of the things Buc-ee's is known for is their bathrooms, super super clean bathrooms. The other component too is they have a ton of stalls and they're like big enough and they work and they're clean. And so I think that just like there's no worse feeling in my experience. This goes with the coffee bar of like you're 20 minutes out from your tea time and you go into the bathroom and there's like two stalls and there's like six dudes. So just like I'm not saying we have to build. We're not trying to like this is a proper club. And, ideally in a beautiful place. We're not trying to build like gas station style restrooms. But it was incredible to go to Buc-ee's and it's like there's so many stalls and they're all clean. And if you're in a bit of a hurry and if you know what I mean by that, you can go and like there's enough room. And so enough bathrooms is big. 'Cause that's infuriating when you're on the golf course or trying to start your round. Wooden tees. I fucking hate plastic tees. Clean. A million wooden tees everywhere so people could play with wooden tees. I don't want plastic tees on my course. Um, I don't know about wooden, but like proper flag sticks, like wooden. I was thinking like wooden flag sticks. The other thing too is like I don't know when we got away from this. I'd want the logo on it, but proper colors of flags, like red, white, blue. I don't know when we got away from that, but like not everybody has a pin sheet, and like the number of times where I've like looked at a hole and I'm like, I had no clue that was on the back of the flag. Like or growing up, it was always like, okay, it's a blue flag. I need to work backwards, right? Like, I just think that is so basic, but like good solid flag sticks that have colors that denote where it is on the green. Very basic, but something I think I played Metro today. It's every flag is yellow. Why? It just says the number of, like, it says the whole number. What are we doing?
So explanation that I've gotten for that is because everybody plays with rangefinders now. So they expect that people are just going based off distances. So
That's true.
I think the same thing because it's like, okay, yeah, I know this is 168 yards, but if I don't know or I can't see that that flag is playing back and I hit it
Yeah,
168 yards, it's probably going to go off the back of the green. Where if I know it's a
totally.
blue flag, I want to hit it 158 yards because
Yes.
I want it to be able to roll just a little bit towards the pin. Or if it's
Yes.
front, you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
I'm with you. Colored flags, highly important in my opinion.
Yeah.
Also,
And again, they look great. Like
standardized
same
box
logo,
colors.
but just easy. Yeah. Yes.
Another thing that we just played the reserve. It drove me crazy that their back tees were green. Their tee before that is black. The tee in front of the tee up is tan. It literally it's such a weird small
Shouldn't it be
thing.
black, tan, green, if anything?
Even that
Or I
would
guess it
make
could.
more sense. Black is always in the back. They're always back tee. Black, no matter what, black is always back tees. In any course that ever puts black not as the back tees, infuriating.
That's
And you know
bizarre.
what?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be black, blue, white, red. Period. That's the standardized tee box
Yeah,
colors.
I'm with
And
you.
then yellow
We don't
is
need to
the
get cute.
if you want to put a kid's tee, it's yellow.
We don't need to get cute. Yeah, some things
No.
are just meant to be.
Yeah.
This is super obvious. I think we kind of touched this earlier. The right grass for the style of course, it's top of mind because we played Spanish Bay. If that course was fescue, I still would hate it, but if it was fescue, it'd play totally different. I have on here elite turn snacks. I This is me outing myself. I played Lake Merced with our friend Dennis. Unfucking believable. Not going to talk about it here because we don't talk about private golf. Again, like it was once in a blue moon. But they had these when you go in. They had these like giant canisters, but like with like good. They had like a huge thing of like good gummy bears. They had a huge thing of like peanut M&Ms. They had a huge thing of like sour gummy worms and like Whoppers and like it's candy, but it was kind of fun. I made this little like cup of candy at the turn, and it was like I don't know. I was like, it's like kind of goofy, and it's not very expensive for them, but just like something that like is free that you're not having to pay a lot. But like Dennis was like, oh, we're kind of known for this. I was like, it's like Lake Merced is one of the best golf courses I've ever played, and yet people are talking about the fucking like gummy worms. Like there feels like a real opportunity to just do something cool. Again, like make like good sandwiches and stuff. But, like something like that where it's like you walk out. I was just smiling, like eating some gummy worms, and I thought that was fun. So would like that. Um, I People are gonna hate this. I would do no drinking on the course at all. Like do what you want after. Like we're here to play golf. Like don't fucking like when I have one beer, everything changes for me on the golf course. Don't fucking drink. Drink after. Drink. You know, I love having a couple lagers after my round. No alcohol on the course, so you have to. People wouldn't get drunk because you wouldn't let them. That would also get the idiots out of the way. Like if you can't really have a beer for 4 hours, then goodbye. Like you don't need to be playing here anyway. Small thing, but I think a lot of menus at golf courses suck. I would love like this is very me. I would love more vegetables on the golf course, like more vegetables like afterwards, like a salad that's not Caesar, like just something that I could eat after. Like I would love like you're gonna absolutely make fun of me so much. Like if I could have like it's like brown rice, like a chicken skewer and like roasted like zucchini and squash, like something like that after a golf round. Like I don't need another like a burger, a club sandwich, a chicken salad. It's like okay, but like how about something that's like a little bit like healthier or that like could like actually fill me up as opposed to like another burger and fries. And then the last thing, and I'll be quiet, build the course where there's 3 hole loops. So that like the idea is like, you know, there's just natural times where it's like if you just want to go play a couple more, you're gonna find your way back to not be like out in the middle of nowhere. So we try to route the course in such a way where you can kind of circle back so you can always like you're always kind of coming back to a natural turning point. So you can ideally play more golf. So it's like I don't know, the 9 holes goes all the way out to the ocean. We can't get back. Because I'm like you, I do walking only. So it's like 3 hole loops that bring you back to a natural starting point. So that's just the ideas that I had. But I
You
think
know
if
what?
I could implement those things, I think it'd be a great golf
You know what
course.
would be cool for you is to have your clubhouse centrally located in the middle, and then have
Oh, like
three
one, two,
holes,
three, 1, 2, 3. Yeah,
kind of like a flower, just going
yeah,
around the
it
clubhouse.
would be
You
cool.
would never need a turn because you
Yeah,
always end up back there, and you could have like a walk-up window on
yeah.
each
It would be
one, and
sick.
the bottom is just like your restaurant and like snacks and all that stuff. And then you could
Yeah,
just walk up to the window, or you
like
just walk into the
kebabs.
room and they have all
Our
your
thing would be
snacks.
kebabs. We'd be known for we have this big ass fire pit with like kebabs and pita and all this shit. Yeah.
I would just serve
Again, most
every
the funny
style of
thing for me
brat
is oh
and
yeah,
hot dog possible. So I would do
yeah.
Nathan's, Miller. Like it wouldn't just like
I don't even know. I know
you.
Nathan's. I don't even know what Miller is. That's amazing.
There's the San Francisco Hot Dog Company. Like I mean, I could
Of
go
course
in
there is.
on hot dog brands, but like I would have them all. So when you came in, you ordered a hot dog, you'd be like, "Do you want a ballpark Frank? Do you want the San Francisco Hot Dog Company?" You know, and have them all. And so
Yeah.
you get to pick
No,
your
love the
dog.
idea.
But I'm with you.
Yeah.
Definitely, I love my dogs, but I also have been trying to eat a little bit healthier. And I know this isn't any much healthier, but I've been kind of getting into the Caesar wraps lately. if I'm going to play golf.
It's better.
Better than a hot dog. Still full of tons of mayonnaise in the Caesar dressing, but like
mayonnaise.
I think mayonnaise is in Caesar.
Oh, I guess that maybe it's dressing. I was thinking. I was like, wait, are you telling me you're doing a Caesar salad wrap?
No. No. But yeah,
because then honestly, dude, eat the hot
mayonnaise
dog.
in it.
Eat the hot dog. It's like people in the South who like make healthy meals then like use like actual lard. It's like you've missed the point.
You just jumped the boat.
But Chris, this was fun. I like the topic,
Yeah.
and if unfortunately I recently tried to win the lottery and did not win, but if we win the lottery, we'll have a follow up chat, and that'd be really fun, right?
We could always go the route of Zach Blair and just put out product.
Nope. Not even doing that. Not even having that discussion. Nope. That's a great way to end this.
That's the way to end this. All right, buddy. Well, have a good night, sir. I will talk to you soon.
Peace.
Late.